Good morning, everyone. Well, today I'm going to be making the door for the shed out of 2 3/4 inch pieces of plywood sandwiched together. Let me show you how it's got to be done. Now, because these are 4 foot by 2 foot, we got to sandwich them this way. So there'll be 30 inches. We got to adjust it so it's 30 inches. Then we got to cut a piece for here and a piece for here. So in other words, it's going to take 3 pieces of plywood. I've got 5 of these, so I'm all set. We'll sandwich them together. We'll glue them, and they'll become 1.5 inch thick door. And what I'm going to do then is trim it off with the saw. We'll try to get it as straight as we can. So it's going to be 30 inches wide for this door casing over here. The door casing here is 30 1/2 inches. So we'll make the door 30, and that'll allow for hinges and movement and everything else. The height of this is 48 inches. We're going to have to take and make it 1/2 inch shorter so we can allow for this, because we're just a little high right here. So if I take my 4-foot yardstick and measure from here right to here, it is about 1/8 of an inch too low, and I can't get the yardstick in there. So that's the way we're going to do it. Now we got 2 more pieces of plywood over here. So there'll be one piece ripped down that'll fit in here, and then there'll be another piece to fit in there, and these will all be sandwiched together. So this whole thing will be, I'd say 47, I'll cut it down off the end here, 47.5 by 30 inch, 1.5 inch thick door. And that'll allow me to get the deadbolt in and everything else. I would have liked it better if the plywood was wider, but I'd have to go out and buy a full sheet, and that would cost me $30 or $40, and I'd rather spend $3 or $4 on these sheets here and use these, and that's the way we're going to do it. What we're going to do is we're going to sandwich these 2 pieces together, okay, gluing this area here with the Elmer's carpenter glue over here. Before we can even do that, we got to get a measurement. It's going to be exactly 30 inches wide. The doorway is 30 1/2 inches. And so we have to move this over to 30 inches. Then we draw the line, and we glue that particular surface. Nice when it's glued upside down, but make it 30 inches. Alright. Now, the length of this is 48. We're going to make it 47.5, but we'll cut that off after we get these sandwiched together. Alright, so we set this to 30. This happens to be exactly 30. Let me double check it here. These have all been cut on the table saw at Home Depot anyways. They cut them 24 inches off and put them in the bargain bin. Alright, so we're exactly 30, which means that we got to rip out of this piece here 6 inches. Okay? And for this one, should be 6 inches. Yeah. So we got to rip 2 6-inch pieces. One to lay here, and when we flip this over, one to lay here. But before I even do that, I'm going to mark this. And we're going to, before we mark it, we'll double check our measurements again. 30 inches. Alright, going to double check my measurements here. Now, as I said, it's 6 inches. Yeah, 6 inches there. And on the bottom side, it's 6 inches. 30 inches. which is the width of the door. Just double check the middle here. 30 inches. 30 inches, okay. We gotta glue this, but we'll mark it first before we do that. From here, 30 inches. Make sure this side didn't move. 30 inches, all right. We'll draw a line on this. This is not a cutting line. This is where I need to put the overlap. An arrow here and an arrow here so we get the right orientation, because we got the knots on the inside and the good surface is faced to the outside. Alright, so now we're going to mark underneath here, so when I flip it over I can draw the straight edge on it. This is the face. These are the insides. This gets, you don't see this. This will be on the inside. So I got to draw a line here so I can establish my area that I have to put glue on. And then we'll glue these two pieces together. Then we'll cut out of this the 6-inch strip for here and the 6-inch strip that's going to go in here. But right now I got to... And I'm going to double check my measurement here. Measure twice or even 3 times. Okay, she's 6. Even measure 4 times if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to draw the line on here. This line just tells me where to glue and where not to glue right away. All gets glued. But right away we flip these over and we glue this surface and we glue this surface, leaving the small edges unglued until I get these two pieces together. Now these two pieces will go back over like this. Now that I got the line there, I can bring it right to the line, and then we'll cut this piece. Then, when all this is together, if for some reason I might make this a hair longer in here just so I can trim it off with the saw, if I can't get it exact, so that we have a clear, smooth butt right here, and on the other end. So what we're going to do now is we're going to commence to glue this. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. First of all, I'm going to use number 3 common galvanized nails that will not come through 2 3/4 inch piece of plywood. Now I could screw this, but if I glue it and put some nails in there and be careful not to put any nails in the area where the deadbolt is going to go, I'll be fine. So before we even do that, we got to flip over this wood. And glue this area here. Now, of course, we got these knot holes here, but I'm not worried about it. That's going to be on the inside. As a matter of fact, that will be kind of like in the middle of the door here. So. Just use some roofing paper here from the roofing project. Spread this out. I'm going to have to use a little more glue than this. A lot more glue than this. We don't want to go too crazy with it. And we'll keeping the glue inside the mark here. And we're going to do the same to that one, even though you only need glue on one surface. We're doing them on both surfaces, simply because we're not covering every inch of this. I don't want to use up all my glue because I've only got the one container here. So this is why we got to do it this way. Now, when I get to, I want to keep the very ends done here too. In other words, bring it out a little closer to the edge. We'll do the rest of this off video here. Okay. Ready? Okay. All right, here we go. Now we got to slide it into place here. Slides easy on the glue. Didn't you know? All right, now we're going to double check the measurement here. The nails are going to keep it from sliding around. 30 inches. Actually, we've got to move it just a hair. What we're going to do is nail this one. Alright, this is the top of the door or the bottom. We'll come in about 1.5 inches. We drill these damn things that bend over on me. Damn it. I'm going to have to pre-drill all these number 3s. Isn't that something? This is ridiculous. Can't even drive a damn number 3 nail in it without bending over. Unbelievable. That's why I pre-drill. Okay, here's, if you look at this, I just laid this here to even it out. Alright. This is how she's going to be. This is the good, this is the good side. This is rougher here. This is the good side. We got to take 6 inches. This is a smooth area here. This is a discoloration. All right. Now you can see there's a little difference. There's probably a 1/16 of an inch, maybe almost an 1/8 inch difference between the thickness. All right. What we're going to do, we got a nice smooth seam here. We're going to draw the line here. And we're going to draw a marker here. This will tell me that this side goes here, just in case there's a little difference in the measurement. Alright, so now we're going to cut this. I'm going to draw the straight edge on it. The straight edge right here, and we're going to mark it, and we're going to cut it. Now, we're going to make it, because of the blade thickness, we're going to bring it over just a hair, because we can trim it with the whole thing could be trimmed afterwards. Hold this down so she don't move. Alright, now we're over just a little bit, and that's purpose. Done purposely, because the blade thickness always screws me up. We're going to cut this off. cut this piece off, and we'll lay it right in here. This is our end. It's going to go that way to match this. Alright, so we'll get back on this video when I'm ready to cut this. Okay, we got my skill saw. I bought this at a yard sale about 5 years ago, and the only thing was wrong was the blade was jammed in there on the auger, and I used an impact wrench on it, electric cigarette lighter type impact wrench, to get it off and change the blade. That's an old blade that I got in there, and this is a damn good saw. Ready? Now you watch how we do it now. Now take a look at that cut. Straight as an arrow. No imperfections, and this is the piece that we're going to be using. This is the piece that's going in there. We're going to do the one cut, and we're going to put that piece in, and then we're going to cut again off of this here for the next piece. Okay. Alright, I got my clamps. We're going to get ready to clamp this down. This is our cutting straight edge. Now, as I had shown you in another video, this is my saw guide block. Try to get it into camera view here. Alright, I've showed you this before. Now, when I lay this down, then it determines where I'm going to clamp this down. Alright? So this determines that I'm going to clamp it here and bring it over and clamp it here. So when I run down this line and I watch that little line here, she's on the money. So when I take my saw, I go right down the line and she cuts it off nice and straight. So we're going to clamp it down and double check our placement here. And if I have to move it, we'll just gently clamp it for now. This is our guide board. We'll make sure the guide board is laying flat so the saw don't go up underneath. Now we take our block. I've got to move this over. Just a hair. Let me show you a little closer detail here. A little closer detail. Now if you look right here, this line is where the saw blade will go. Now you see I just got to move that over so that when she rides on the line, see, she follows straight on the line. That's how I do it. I don't rely on a tape measure. With my eyesight, I could read an eighth of an inch or even a quarter inch off. This will guarantee, as long as these are clamped down in the right position, this will guarantee a straight cut every time. And I just double check. I just go down the line with it to make sure that this end is straight. And it is, so I can clamp that down. I can tighten this down. We're ready to saw it. Alright, as you saw me cutting, now we got a little bit longer here. Now I deliberately did that. If you look here, I don't know if you can see that, but the line is, I'm about an eighth inch or so, maybe almost a quarter inch over, but that's not a problem. What I'm going to do is, we got a straight edge on both. Doesn't matter what side I use. This is the side that's got to go down anyways, and this is the piece that matches into here. And the reason I mark that end is just in case I'm off a little bit here. But it really doesn't matter, because when this is glued and nailed into place, and the same way with this one over here, then I'll trim the door to the exact width of 30 inches. And that way it'll give a perfect flush mount there. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to glue the carpenter's wood glue. We're going to put the glue into place here. And we trim off when we're all done with it. parts that I have to be careful. Somewhere in this area or that area, depends on where the door, whether it's this way or that way, will determine where the deadbolt's going to go, and we don't want to have any nails in there, of course. So there's going to be a forbidden area to nail. That's the way we're going to do it. Part we want in there. So we're taking this edge. Man, this glue's almost out. This is a brand new bottle here. I swear I have more bad luck with running out of tar, running out of glue. Hey, that's why my jobs get screwed up sometimes. So we're not going to go too crazy because I got to do the other side yet. I want to make sure I have enough glue to go around. We'll just do that. That's why too the nails will help. In order to cover 100% of the surface, I'm going to need a half a gallon of glue, for crying out loud. This is why sometimes you have to do what you have to do. It's going to be close. That end, drop it into place. We'll nail this down. We'll do that off camera. Now if you take a look, I've got two circles with X's here. One here, one here. It's going to be 24 inches. That's where the deadbolt's going to go. The deadbolt could either go on here and here. It's going to get painted anyway, so you're not going to see that. This just tells me not to nail in those areas. That's all that's for. That's to remind me, because my luck I'll be able to put nails in there. I put number 3s in here, and you can probably notice them maybe a little bit. That'll help sandwich everything together. Now, taking a very close look at the door here on the workbench, you can see that I cut this a little beyond, and I'll finish trimming this. I'll cut this off with my saw with the straight edge. Same with the bottom. This has got to be cut to 47.5 inches, and maybe even less than that. I don't know. It looks like I'm going to have to put some more nails in this because that's moving. So I'm going to put some more nails in this off camera. On this piece here, we're going to rip another piece down like we did there, put it in there. So we won't do that on video. We get it all ready to be trimmed out and everything. We'll come back on this video at that time. Well, ladies and geraniums, I'm ready for the next piece here. I've already ripped this down, and the only thing I got to do is to glue this, nail it in. And I used a little more nails in it off camera because this wasn't sandwiching in tight enough. When this is all made, I will trim it, of course, and then I'm going to paint it with oil-based primer, the stuff I used on the shed originally, and then let that dry good because I want to protect the plywood and the edges and so forth, and then the final will be that redwood paint, which, like I say, does nothing for protecting the wood, but it does look nice. Now, if you take a look here, this is the original 30-inch mark right here, and I purposely left this piece, this is the piece I put in here, overhang like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the saw right in here with the straight edge on top, of course, and cut this flush so it'll be a nice even cut. And of course I got to cut a 1/2 inch off of either end here. And then over here I got to do the same thing, because this is the 30-inch mark down here. So we'll do that side first, and we'll come back and we'll turn it around and we'll do that side, and then we'll trim the length. Okay, come take a look at this. By doing it that way, we got a perfect flat surface. So it'll be a nice place to put the deadbolt and stuff, whether it be on this side or that side. They're both going to be done the same. Now, all we managed to do is cut off the piece that I added to it, that I said I made it a little too wide purposely. It was about 1/8 inch or so. Maybe almost a 1/4 counting the blade thickness. So there we are. Now we'll turn this around. We'll double check and make sure we're still exactly 30 inches wide. Make sure we didn't screw up anywhere. Alright, we got to cut it 47.5, so we got to take a 1/2 inch off the length. And we're going to have to break for some coffee, some lunch or something a little while here. What we're going to do is cut off this. Now, when I nailed this, I nailed in a good 1.5 inches from the end, so there's no danger of hitting nails. Now, 47.5 inches. So what we're going to do, alright, gonna triple check our line here, and then we cut it. Alright, we have to be careful because this wood is higher than this, so the saw is going to hit this. So we'll have to be careful with that. Plus, we have to be careful that this wood is not down all the way. It might be because I've got a clamp too tight here, I don't know. Nope. So I need to clamp back here, otherwise the saw will hit it before I get to the end of this wood here. Here we go. Smooth as a baby's butt. Yes, sir. That will look good. That'll be the top of the door. The bottom won't be quite as smooth unless I go and run the saw blade down there, but I'm not going to get that technical. What I'm going to do is it's going to be tight to move this because I have no handle like the other one to grab it and to put it into the door casing. But I'm going to bring it over to the door casing and see how she fits. Alright, I temporarily put these, turn the turnbuckles in. This this is how she's going to be. The trim will go over this. These will be removed. And we got a little juggling around to do. I'll do that off camera. I want to make sure I don't have to cut any more. Now, I'm not sure about the bottom there, because there's a possibility I may have to cut more off if I'm going to put some kind of a threshold down there. I got approximately a ½ inch of clearance on the top, which is what I wanted. And because one of these boards here is higher than the rest of it, right down in that area, that causes that left side to be up a little higher. So I could probably plane that down, but I'm going to be putting some kind of a threshold in. I'm not sure yet. So I'll go do some juggling around.